Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Kerbal Space Program. Today we are going to be mounting a manned mission on over to Minmus, but we are not going to be landing on it today. All we are going to be doing is orbiting it to gather up some science and come back to Kerbin with it. And hopefully we gather up a good amount of science because I want to unlock the relay antennas so that we can gain access back to our satellites that we launched last episode. So depending on how much science we get back, we can either unlock this one for 160 or we can do this one as well for 300. So we're gonna have to kind of wait and see how much science we exactly get from this, but hopefully we can get one of them unlocked today. Anyways though, if we head on over to the VAB, the name for this mission is going to be Minotaur, so let's set that into this thing real quick. If it lets me type. You're gonna let me type here? It's not. There we go. Dang it. Bam, there we go. So for this mission, we are going to be taking all three of our people with us once again. And the reason for that is because we are going to do a flyby science gathering. We're going to do a high orbit gathering and a low orbit gathering on this one run. So we're most likely going to need maybe one or two of these boxes. I don't know if they have a limit to how much they can store, but hopefully by doing this, we're able to go out on the spacecraft, reset these things, and continually run them over and over again. So that way we gather up a ton of science on this run and then bring it all back hopefully safely. So that's the plan. Hopefully this doesn't look too much like the mundane mission, but we are going to get something put together here, so give me just a moment. Alrighty, well this is going to be the rocket that we are going to be taking to Minmus today, so hopefully we are able to actually get there and back with the setup that we have right now. I did have to make one minor change to the launch vehicle here upon loading into the launch pad because the whole top half of this rocket was swaying back and forth, so I went ahead and added in some struts from the capsule down to the boosters, so I'm hoping this thing stays together until we get into orbit, because if it falls apart upon launch, then we're most likely killing all three of our dudes right now, which is not going to be great for us. But anyways, let's go ahead and launch. So we do have liftoff. That's good. We're not too heavy for the boosters and stuff that we have on here right now. All right, well, this rocket made it into orbit extremely easily here, but I did make a minor mistake on the build for this rocket. So I forgot the fuel lines from the second stage to the main stage. So right now the main one is about to run out of fuel here shortly, but we will have the other two rockets for a little while longer, even though we're going to be carrying some dead weight effectively here. So hopefully this does not cause the entire mission to have to be abandoned, but we are going to continue with it nonetheless. So let's see if we can get a grav assist to fling us on over to Minmus. So, ooh, Minmus is way over there. That's not ideal. Can we do one of these real quick? And then let's see if we can get something that's going to fling us off of the moon and into a trajectory or somewhere close to Minmus. Well, even with a grav assist from the moon, we still had to float around for quite a while before we had our first encounter here with Minmus. So we are approaching it here shortly, and once we get into that zone, we are going to do our first batch of science. Once we're done with that, we are going to do a counter burn that should put us into an orbit around Minmus. So this is going to hopefully all work out pretty well here. I want to go ahead and warp a little bit so that we enter into that area. And can I just do this? Actually, I can. Okay, hold on. Let me let me stop the time warp on accident there. Let me warp on into the zone. All right, there we go. Cool. So let's very quickly do all of these science, and as long as I'm able to then reset all of these things, I am going to be very happy. If they for some reason break, then I'm going to be in quite a mood here. All right, cool. We got 6 of our things stored in there right now. So let's have our scientist exit the aircraft here and see if we can reset these things. Is this one of the things we need to reset? That is not. The mystery goo is, so let's restore that, and that's all we had to do. Okay, so all we got to do is just click on them, and then we can have them reset them, although it's not letting me do that with that one. Maybe we have to reboard real quick, and then we can reset this one? Nope, it's just not letting me reset it. Okay, maybe we have to physically be on it before it lets us do that. So let's let go and turn our jetpack on so we don't float away, and yeah, that's exactly what it is. All right, cool, so we can restore that. Do we have to restore our thermometer as well? Maybe. I don't think we will, since the other thing didn't need it either, the barometer thingy. Nope, we don't have to reset that one either. Okay, so it's only these 2 things that we need to do it with, and that's completely fine. So let's get this guy back on board so we don't float away on accident or miss our burn window. Well, here goes the orbital burn. Hopefully this gets us into an orbit, and there we go. Cool. So that is going to be considered probably a high orbit, so we could probably do another science grab. So let's just see if this is going to give us more stuff. It's going to give us 62 science and consider us high over Minmus. So I think this is going to be new stuff. I want to just double check our stuff real quick. Review data. So we're not in a different spot just yet to get some more science. This is going to be considered the same stuff that we just scanned a second ago. So I figured the last one was going to be a flyby, but that's not the case at all here. So let's reset our stuff here, and I'm going to move our orbit closer to the planet or the moon here a little bit more. Well, this kind of sucks. We're not going to be getting as much science from this run as I was kind of hoping we would get, because even with our orbit at 42,000 and 23,000, it's still considering us high over Minmus. So I don't know when exactly that is going to change. I'm going to continue trying to pull our orbit closer and closer down, but if it doesn't change eventually here, then we're really just wasting our time trying to get closer and closer to this thing. So I'm going to wait until we get on this end, and I'm going to check all my science stuff again when we're at 20,000 meters and see if that's considered low or not. All right, great news. We can run our secondary set of science experiments here. We are now considered near Minmus. So I'm going to do all of these real quick, reset them as well, and maybe we can get one more batch before we have to leave this area. So let me do these and see if I can find another area where it's going to give us some more science here as well. I don't think we're going to gather up any more science from this run, but I am going to make one more attempt at potentially gathering up a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is drop our orbit down to about 5,000 if we're able to, because there are mountains on Minmus, so I hopefully don't hit any of them. They don't look too high, so I got to make sure we're not impacting with any of them. I've also, by the way, changed our orbit into a polar one, so that way we were going over the poles, but it didn't make a difference here. I figured we would go over a different biome or something, but it didn't do anything, so it didn't really matter. So by going a little lower on Minmus, we weren't actually able to gather up any more science, so I just went ahead and sent everyone back to Kerbal. So right now we are going to be landing in the South Pole, and once we do, I'm going to gather up a little bit more science science. It's only going to be like 20 to 30 science. It's not going to be that much, but every little bit helps here. I'm also a little concerned because I can't fold in our solar panels. So when we go through the atmosphere, they're going to break and blow up, and I don't know if that's going to cause us to blow up or if it's going to break any of our parachutes or our science. So hopefully none of that happens and the parachutes that we have on there are good to go and we land nice and safely, but let's go ahead and speed up time and see if we actually do end up landing. All right, nice. When these solar panels blew up, they didn't break anything either, so that is great for us. Let's do some science. It's going to be very, very minimal, but again, it's going to matter in the long run here, so I will gladly take as much as I can get. And we brought back a whopping 529 science off of that run. That is awesome. We have enough to unlock those relays now, and we made 7,000 back from that rocket. Cool. And all of our people are level 2 now. Great. I hope that has the maneuver thing unlocked for that guy, because not having that is really, really annoying. So let's unlock this one. It's at 300, and with the rest of the points here, I'm going to unlock this one as well, just so we can unlock these 2 trees. And now what I want to do is also unlock this one. It's going to give us a massive engine that is hopefully going to be able to get used with those fuel tanks that we unlocked last time that we couldn't actually use because they are super, super heavy. So let's unlock that as well. So now that we have the relay dishes unlocked, I'm going to redesign our satellite a little bit here because we no longer need any of the science equipment on this thing, because what I'm going to be doing is putting this thing into an orbit a little bit past Minmus, or as far away from Minmus as I can, to the point where hopefully it doesn't leave Kerbal and go into the solar system. I just want it orbiting as far out as we can get it, so that way we have as much reach with our relays as possible here. But I'm also going to be keeping the same launch vehicle. The only thing I'm changing is the satellite, so once I'm done with that, I am going to go ahead and put it into orbit around Kerbal real quick. So let me get to work here and I'll be right back with you guys. Alrighty, well this is going to be our relay satellite that we are going to be positioning a little bit past Minmus. So right now I have a maneuver that is going to be flinging us about 70 million meters away. And if I can stretch that out any further, I'm going to try. But right now, I just want to adjust for this maneuver. We have to burn for 52 seconds. But let me go ahead and get this maneuver done, and we can see whether or not this is actually going to help us or not. All right, well, I seem to have gotten this thing placed as far out as I can. If I try and make it any wider, it just starts putting us into an exit trajectory into the solar system. So right now, we're sitting at 83 million on that end and 83 million on this end, and we still have 100% connection strength to Kerbal. So that is pretty good for us right now. Now, the next thing for us to test is whether or not this increased our connection to our satellites. So let's go over to our building over here, and then let's see. Ooh, that's not good. This one's still orange. So right now, the only one that's flickering orange is the one being sent on over to Duna. So hopefully that doesn't change. I'm going to go to this one that is going to Eve and see if we have a connection with this. We do not. Oh, that's not good. It could also just boil down to us having this antenna. It's not a really good antenna, so that could also be why we don't have connection to these things anymore. Alrighty, well this is not working out the way that I thought it would. I thought we would be able to bounce the signal from our relay out into the solar system to the drones that we already had out there, but that doesn't seem to be the case. And unless I'm misunderstanding the wiki, this relay antenna that we have on here right now is supposed to be able to reach Dres without any issues. So I'm not too sure what's happening here, but I am going to try one last thing here before I just throw in the towel and start planning other missions. I'm going to try and get our orbit to be similar to Kerbal's, right around the sun. Not orbiting Kerbal, but on the line at least somewhat close to Kerbin so that we can see whether or not we're going to have connection still, or if we're going to lose it immediately once we leave Kerbin's orbit. And if this also doesn't work, then we'll just go ahead and throw in the towel with satellite stuff and come back to it later when we have better equipment for it. But let me try and get ourselves into something that hopefully stays somewhat close to Kerbin here over the course of some orbits. All right, well, we have officially left Kerbin's orbit, and we still have 100% connection rate, but that is probably going to change as we speed up some time here. I want to see if we get to this blue line. There we kind of go, I guess. That works. Okay, let me zoom out, and let's see. We are definitely orbiting the sun now. That is great. Are we bouncing our connection is the question. I need to go back to the building again and see. We are not bouncing our data. That is a little unfortunate. Okay, what if we go to the one that is closest to the relay and is still kind of close to Kerbin? That might have a little bit of a connection still, but it might not be getting the bounce from our other one. So we want to go to this guy. Nope, we want to go to that guy. No, we want to go to this one right there. What is that? Number 2.2. Okay, so this is the one that's going to go to the exoplanets, but hasn't exactly gone to plan here. So let's see. It should have a minor connection already, and it does not have any connection whatsoever. So this is the closest one to our relay satellite at the moment. And yeah, we're sitting right there. Well, that could also be why we don't have a connection. We are sitting 1.8 billion meters away from the other satellite at the moment. So, I mean, that could be playing a role in this whole thing as well, I guess. All right, well, now I'm actually ready to call it quits with these satellites because I don't think there's anything we can potentially do to fix them, because I went ahead and moved our relay satellite into a different orbit. I'll show you guys that here in a second. But by looking at the antennas that we have on our other satellites, we have a rating of 5.00 M, which I don't know what the M is. Maybe millions? I'm not sure, but whatever it is, we don't have the reach to actually connect with this thing. So let's go back to our space center and swap over to our relay one. And if we right click on one of the antennas on our relay satellite, we have a rating of 15.0 G on both of them because they combine to produce that number. So I don't think there's anything we can do to regain control of those other satellites, because right now I went ahead and put this thing into a 11 million meter orbit around the sun because I figured that would be enough to have Kerbin bouncing to it and then this thing bouncing to this one. But this one still has absolutely no connection to Kerbin. So I don't exactly know how these relay satellites are supposed to work, to be completely honest. Maybe I was supposed to put 2 of them on this thing, or maybe just one of them works normally. I don't know, but it's not doing what I thought it would do. So I completely wasted my time today. I do apologize for wasting you guys' time as well. But unfortunately, that is where we're going to be wrapping up today's episode. I was really hoping that the relay dishes would allow us to regain control of our other satellites, but that didn't exactly work out in our favor. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed as always, and I will catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.